The part of cheating that people care much, much more about is the lying. It's not what you did with another person. It's the breaking the trust. The truth is, by the time we get into serious relationships, we accept that our partners have had other partners in the past, have connections to other people that are strong. Usually when we get into the first 6 months of relationship, we're not their strongest relationship. They still have stronger connections to other people, not necessarily somebody they might be romantically inclined with, or at least you hope. Sometimes that's the case. Sometimes that is the case, and you don't know if you're getting the whole story, because people aren't going to come out and be like, yeah, I'm definitely still in love with my ex more than I love you right now. But of course you do.
That's also an honesty that eyes wide shut we walk into. Because I'll be honest, when I broke up with my girlfriend, I still loved her. It hurt more to be in a relationship with her than it would be to be without. It doesn't mean I don't love her. And if I had to get into another relationship starting from square one, that's not going to remove the love I have for her.
Right.
Of the days gone by.
And that is the one thing I was glad is we both have always held the value that parenting first no matter what. Whatever we can do to be the best parents is priority. They're going to outlive us. And that's the one thing I'm super grateful for from that relationship. But it taught me a lot. It taught me a lot about what doesn't work. It taught me a lot about what I don't want. And a couple months later, I met my now wife, Micah. And yes, I was kind of doing the same thing. And so this is a message of hope. You can start relationship on bad pretenses that are generally risky and still find a way to make it work if you have good enough communication. That's the story that her and I have to tell the world.
Yes. Nice.
Because we started it for all the wrong reasons. First of all, she didn't even want a relationship. She wanted a weekend fling. And I'm not that way, I guess.
Yeah.
I was in hot pursuit mode. I was not ready to just have a temporary thing.
I think that's good that you say that just because something starts on a bad foot doesn't mean that has to end bad. And a lot of people, they get caught up with what's happened in the past or what started, and therefore because they lose hope in any sort of fixing it, they will self-sabotage in making it worse to get it over with.
Well, yeah, and I mean, things started rocky. I was coming from a place of trying to use relationships as a way to avoid actually doing the very difficult work on myself. And what did that result in? Like a year in, I cheated. And I did that because I had this dark hole that I was trying to fill. We don't tell cheater stories enough. We always just paint them as like evil people who mean the worst and are just like,
right, lying
connivers. And when in reality, I was dealing with this emotional darkness, and I cheated with my ex-wife. It was a reasonable thing. I was like, maybe what's missing is I need to get my family back together, and I never should have split up and blah, 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 blah. And then I tried making that relationship work for like 3 weeks after we had been apart for a year, and I realized I was going through a change, and I don't think she was changing it in the same way or in the same direction that I was, and so it was a total mistake. And I'm lucky that my wife now ever picked the phone back up.
That your ex-wife never picked the phone back up?
No, that my wife now, Micah, if she could have just said, I never want to talk to you again.
Yeah.
But after a year of being together, we'd become best friends again. And that's the cool thing is I actually this time around had found my best friend. And well, so let me say this. This is like you started with credentials. The biggest thing I learned from all of this experience, this is spanning 7 years of heartache and chaos. By the time I got to that end, one thing I was sure is that the purest, best form of a relationship you can have is the best friend. And you want somebody in your life to share it with. Even if you're not going to be romantic with that person, you need a best friend. You need more than one because they just enrich your life in such deep and meaningful ways. And so my pitch back to Micah after I messed up and I cheated and I almost ruined everything, it was, listen, all I know is a day that you spend with me or talk to me at least once is better than a day where you don't. You genuinely bring real value and meaning to my life. And I've lost a lot of trust with you and I've lost a lot of ground. But if you will give me If you will give me what you're willing to give me and only what you're willing to give me, I will take it graciously. And I'm not looking for a relationship. I'm not looking for romance. I'm not looking for anything. I just want you to be a part of my life. And that was it. And I pledged to really, really, really work on myself.
Wow. That's it's really interesting. You know, you say we don't tell cheater stories enough. And I'm a little bit younger than you, and I've never cheated before. And as I've like grown up, like my whole opinion of people who cheat was, it was always like, to me, it was the most egregious, emotionally immature thing for someone to do. I could never envision myself doing it. I could never. It would always be like I was just tough enough to like stop things first before it got to that point, you know, to break up. If you wanted to be done, like break up first, you know. And I've been with a girl for 6 years, on and off during. I've probably been with her about 4 years during and about 2 years off. And that's been the hardest thing of my life. And if I had to, I would describe myself as the most hard line, straight edge, like the most loyal person you could possibly describe. And the difficulties that I have had with this have pushed me to the point where I possibly consider myself the possibility of cheating. And it really humanized people who do that. Now I'm going to say there was a spectrum of pieces of shit that cheat, for like no,
for the thrill,
no
of it.
Redeemable, the thrill, no redeemable reason. And then there's people. It made me realize that there's another end of that spectrum, to where there are people who are truly in a really hard spot.
And they're actually the bulk of it. Like that's what the psychology
that's what I agree.
says. Yeah, the psychology shows
I agree. That. And instead of crucifying people like that, I think I would have never have had these feelings of I'm trapped, if there was a difference in emotional maturity in the relationship. So I think the way to prevent the bulk of cheating is really everyone improving themselves, so that they don't put themselves in situations where cheating feels like it's the only option or the only way out.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, the reality is, and this is something that's more and more clear too. The part of cheating that people care much, much more about is the lying. It's not what you did with another person. It's the breaking the trust. And like, because the truth is like, by the time we get into serious relationships, we accept that our partners have had other partners in the past, have connections to other people that are strong. Usually when we get into the first 6 months of relationship, we're not their strongest relationship. They still have stronger connections to other people, you know, not necessarily somebody they might be romantically inclined with, or at least you hope. Sometimes that's the case. Sometimes that is the case. And you don't know if you're getting the whole story with that. I mean, I know somebody who went through that just in the last few months, and like, it was like, yep, could have seen that one coming, you know, because people aren't going to come out and be like, yeah, I'm definitely still in love with my ex more than I love you right now. But of course you do.
Right.
Of course you do. So,
that's also an honesty that eyes wide shut we walk into.
Yes.
You know? And oh gosh, that's so that's so true. Because I'll be honest, like when I broke up with my girlfriend, I still loved her.
Yeah.
I just knew it hurt more to be in a relationship with her than it would be to be without. It doesn't mean I don't love her. And if I had to get into another relationship, it's starting from square one, and that's not going to remove the love I have for her.
Right. I think that's one of the problems is what we imagine happens. What we imagine happens is we say certain magic words, right? Like, you know what? I'm in love with you. I think we should go out. And we think all of a sudden like level up noise, universe goes crazy, and now we're like in this like new situation. No, your relationship's in the exact same place before you said the words. You're just as committed as you were before you said the words. You had already started making the commitment in your mind. There's this process you go through when you're getting ready to get into a committed relationship. And you know exactly what I'm talking about, where you start crossing some names off the list. You know, you're like, all right, circle this one, don't care. And that's especially true now that we have like, how many guys, what I think is so funny about dating in 2024 is one of the signs where a relationship has gotten serious is like people like delete their Snapchat.
They're done talking to other people, dude.
Yeah.
No more hoes.
No, see, I deleted my Snap. I'm serious, babe.
That's so funny. What a virtue signal.
It's all it is. Yeah, it's exactly what it is. And again, that comes from another eyes wide shut thing is we like to also pretend once that level up noise has occurred that we're somehow less attracted to the field now. Of course you're not.
Oh, less attracted to other people?
Yeah. Yeah. Of course you're not. You're just as attracted to them. The difference is you now see it worth it to put time, energy, and resources into this one relationship, to try and pursue it, to get the goals, the means to the end of what you're actually trying to accomplish. And that's okay. But like, there's a way to actually be honest with yourself and with your partner about that's what you're doing.
I'm never gonna let you go.